Do you believe another silver squeeze could happen? Yes, skyrocketing silver prices. Yesterday we talked about $270 silver, but I have a question for you, basement dweller. Why did you show up here? Huh? Yeah, because you want to hear about silver and gold, and it's a big, big deal that you did. Please give this a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We are going to have a special guest who's threatening to join us here in 10 or 15 minutes, the one and only, the notorious CSC. Yeah, Coin Shop Chris. He's going to share some fascinating information with us. But we're going to talk about right now is this prospect of another silver squeeze. And I have a question for you. Think about this. Ponder this. What if every Chinese citizen, each and every one of them, bought just one little stinking ounce of silver? We know they love gold, right? We know, right? Let's dig in, and you're going to be shocked by what we discover, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything. This is from the numismatic news, silver squeeze news, numismatic. I used to not be able to say that word, but I apparently have fixed that. All right. Numismatic news says, is a major physical silver supply squeeze developing? There's a strong prospect that silver's price could rise much further in the coming months. That's in purple, but in green, I didn't know this. I really didn't know this. I'm embarrassed. It says that the COMEX, as of the market close on Wednesday, the spot price of silver was up almost 25% from where it settled at the end of last year. Guys, silver is up 25% in the first 6 months of 2024. And the prices could go even higher than that. Normally, when there's been such a relatively large move in a commodity price, you will tend to see a retrenchment, right? We talked about that. Things that shoot up often pull back, consolidate, and then go higher, often giving up half of the recent gains. That's not been the case with silver. Then the price can stagnate at those levels. That has not happened. Does it feel like to you, right? Like the silver price went from 22, 23 to 32, and that now we've consolidated around 29. And hey, we know, you know what? Maybe we don't know. Maybe you don't know. Let's go look quickly and see what the update on the silver price is at our friends PEMBEX. Silver, $31.20. So again, we shot up, pulled back. Usually we should have pulled back maybe 50%, maybe to $27, $26, $28. We talked about that. That did not happen. We pulled back to $29, and now we're moving up again. And we talked exhaustively here on the channel, guys, that if we can move here in the coming weeks, the biggest battle in the history of the silver market, right, maybe happening, maybe in the next few weeks, if we get up to the $33, $34 range, it's what I like to call a premature breakout. Because we'll go from 34 to 44 lickety split. Thank you to PEMBEX for sponsoring Ron's Basement. Here it is right here, PIMBEX. That's where you can get gold, silver, or platinum. It's where Ron buys his silver, has for over a year now. Great company, great service, great prices, and a great selection. So do yourself a favor, check out PEMBEX. And if you ever decide that you want to get into or convert part of an IRA into precious metals, they can help you with that as well. In yellow, this is another way to look at what's going on in the silver market and the potential for a massive squeeze. According to the Silver Institute's research, there was a combined shortfall from 2021 to 2023 of more than 663 million ounces. I don't know. Did you know that? Right? I guess I'd heard that a number of times, but it really sunk in. 663 million ounces of silver supply, right? That was the deficit to meet the demand before factoring in inventory movements into and out of the silver ETFs. In purple, this is what I hadn't thought about this, right? So this deficit, this amount of silver, 663 million ounces that was pulled out of reserves, amounts to almost 80% of annual global silver mining output. Another shortfall, right? Because to make matters worse, another shortfall of 215 million ounces is forecasted for 2024, just on this basis alone. This is not the red. Okay, guys, this is where it gets interesting when we're talking about a silver squeeze. Very, very interesting, because in recent months, Reliance Industries of India has had much difficulty acquiring physical silver to use in the manufacturing of solar panels and other photovoltaic products, that the company ended up purchasing COMEX silver futures contracts. Upon maturity of those contracts, it asked for physical delivery of at least 25 million ounces of silver. Why is that a big deal? I'll tell you why. Because here, let me look you right in the eye and tell you why. I'll tell you why it's a big deal, because the COMEX is not used to people taking delivery of their physical metal. Okay, that's why. Let's go back to numismatic news. Looks like CoinShop Chris is trying to connect with us right now. We'll see. We'll get him on here. Okay. The private sector, this is where it gets crazy interesting. The private sector's demand for physical gold in China has been so strong this year that demand for investment purposes in that nation rose 27%. Okay, that's for gold this year. Gold imports into China have not been enough to cover demand. So buyers are purchasing gold contracts on the Shanghai Futures Exchange. Combine the volume of the gold trading on the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the Shanghai Futures Exchange now exceeds the volume on the COMEX. So the Shanghai markets are exceeding the volume on the COMEX. What is this telling us? Right? The East is taking over the pricing discovery in the precious metals. This is the big point. Purple. To try to mitigate the shortage of physical gold in that country, the government ordered the media there several weeks ago to urge the public to purchase physical silver instead of gold. Think about that, okay? Over the past 2 weeks, the price of physical silver in China has risen as high as $4 above the global spot price. Between strong physical demand in India and China, there appears to be a good prospect for much higher silver prices soon. Do you know, guys? Do you know? Here, let's go out quickly before we get on with CoinShop Chris. Let's go out here to this interesting article. This is from April 12th, okay, from the Silver Academy. China switches strategy. And then it's important that this is from 3 months ago, right? Okay, and I'll explain to you why. China switches strategy from stacking gold to take all the silver, sticking it to the U.S. short sellers and market riggers. Here's the proof, right? This was a tweet from BJW. My wife is in China. She speaks and reads fluent Mandarin. She told me last night that Chinese media is writing articles and recommending silver as a better investment as gold gets more expensive. Okay. All right. Now, here he points out here as well. There's 1.4 billion, 1.4 billion Chinese citizens. I want you to think about something. Okay. I want you to think about something. If each one of those Chinese citizens bought 1 ounce of silver, that would be 1.4 billion. But let's say not even each one of the Chinese citizens bought 1 ounce of silver. Let's say only 70% of them bought 1 ounce of silver. 7 out of 10 Chinese citizens bought 1 ounce of silver. That would be 1 billion ounces, roughly, of silver. That would wipe out the entire world silver supply, all the silver that's mined, all the silver that's recycled. That's just if each Chinese citizen said, hey, you know what? I think I want to buy 1 ounce of silver. And we know that China is becoming very wealthy. People have money to spend. And we know, think about it, that the Chinese government is telling the Chinese people to buy silver. Okay. So the idea of a silver squeeze, well, absolutely, right? And we're going to look at something from India, but first we're going to try to get CoinShop Chris on here. Guys, you ready for some technical difficulties? Whew, I am loud. I have my volume up too high. Let's see if we can get, okay, Chris, if you can hear me, it says you've not connected your mic or your camera. So I cannot add you to the stream. So you may want to go out and come back in, and then you got to say allow, Coin Shop Chris, if you want that to work, my friend. Okay. All right. Where am I here? Let's go. Yep. Here we go. We got him. Oh, nope. Now we don't. Okay. Now we do. Chris. Oh, you keep coming in and out. Whatever you did, do that again. Okay. Coin Shop Chris. Here he is. Chris.
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear me. We can hear you. Welcome to the basement. Hey, guys.
Well, thank you, Ron.
This is Coin Shop Chris, right? A regular on the channel. Chris, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great, Ron. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. What do you think about this idea, right? There's 1.4 billion people in China. If just 70% of them, right? 7 out of 10 Chinese people bought just 1 ounce of silver, Chris, it would wipe out the entire world mining supply, the entire supply for the whole year.
And that would be good, but we need the people in the States and Canada to stop buying too.
Yeah, that's right. I know. I mean, that's like the icing on top, right? Like the people in the West have not even remotely started to be interested in buying silver. And when they do, think about that, right? I mean, think about the numbers, how crazy, absolutely crazy it could be. Chris, do you mind if we go talk about India real quickly? I've got some crazy, interesting news about gold in India as well. Can we go take a look at that real quickly?
Sure.
Okay. And then later on, guys, here in the live stream, Chris is going to did some comparison shopping on silver quarters and found out some interesting information. Here we go. This is from, I'm sure we got this up on the screen, which we do. This is from the Times of India. So this is fresh from India. See if I can get there it is, right there. The Times of India. And listen to what they said about gold. This is a big study that was done. It says, in India, irrespective of income, gold accounts for an average of 18% of assets for households. I mean, how do you think that compares to the United States, Chris?
It is ridiculous. I mean, they're stocking up. Their governments are telling them on to stock silver, stack gold. I mean, depending, India's more on the silver part of it. But, why aren't we, going to get our silver now at dirt? I mean, these are dirt cheap prices still. I mean, what are we waiting for? $50, $60, $70 silver? I mean, we all thought, go back to the time frame when Home Alone movie came out, Ron, for 1 minute. And, silver, I mean, gold was about $300 an ounce. Did we ever think gold would be nearly $2,400 today? If we all knew gold was going to go that high back then, I would have been buying it up back then if I had the cash. Well, I didn't have the cash back then, but if the people who had the cash knew it was going to be this high, silver is so undervalued.
Yeah.
The crooks at the COMEX and the LBMA are trying to suppress this. It's not going to last much longer. It's not going to happen.
Well, when I look back, I don't know how long you've been stacking, but I've been stacking silver about 20 years now. And I remember I bought some when silver was like $15, $16, $17 an ounce. And I remember looking back at that point to there was a point when it was like $5 an ounce, like in 1999 or something like that. And I thought, oh, maybe I should wait till if it goes back to $5 an ounce. You always can look back, and it's like, I think it's important. And I think it goes back to something you always like to harp on, dollar cost averaging, right? You want to buy a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And that way, if there are wild price fluctuations, that kind of gets absorbed by the dollar cost averaging. But to think now, right, that, I'm going to wait and get silver at $15 an ounce, I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I mean, I had people come in the shop now, Ron, waiting for $27 an ounce, and they buy a few ounces, and I say, I understand their point, but you might not even see that dip down to $27 an ounce. And my point is a few bucks now going to make a difference when silver hits 60, 70, 80 plus dollars an ounce? No, it's not going to make one bit of a difference, because you are going to be gaining more on the upside than on the downside. Silver has more upside potential right now than the downside.
Yeah, I've got some data we're going to look at later from this guy, Tavi Costa, who is the smartest guy in the room. But, Chris, I'm going to wait. I know you love when I say this. I'm not buying silver right now. I'm waiting for it to go back to $22 an ounce. Then I'll buy some silver.
Well, you can keep on waiting for my friend because I don't think I don't think we're going to see that in a long, long time. We may not even see that again.
Let's go back to India, Chris. This is from Ahmedabad. I can't say that. The lure
Can you
of
say that
gold.
again, Ron?
Isn't that where you're from? Weren't you born in Ahmedabad? Is that the? I'm a country bumpkin from Missouri, so I have a kind of a Midwest accent. I think you have an Ahmedabad accent.
No, I was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts. That's why I have my Boston accent.
Don't worry, everybody, because later in this show, Coin Shop Chris did some comparison prices, and he's going to tell you all about quadas. Okay, quadas. If you know what a quada is, quada. Okay, the lure of gold. You need to speak like a sophisticated Missouri person. The lure of gold has never diminished for Indians. And those are people who live in India. Irrespective of their income level, an average Indian household has 18% of their total investments in gold, indicated by a study carried out by the India Gold Policy Center. So then look at this. I don't know if you can see your screen, Chris, but they got this cute little
Piggy.
Piggy. Yeah, I know we like piggies. Golden piggy, right? The gold standard. And this shows like the Q5, it says over here, categories as indicated, income slabs at 20%. Q5 means the top 20% of income earners in India have 21% of their investments in gold. The bottom 20% has 16%. And the survey was significant. It covered over 43,000 households from across the geographies, income groups, and education levels in India. I think it's safe to say that Indian people absolutely love their silver and gold, right?
Absolutely. I got a few Indian people come in on a weekly basis, Ron, and they're buying what they can. I hate to say the word buying, is converting. They're taking their, as you like to call it, unicorn dust, and they're getting real money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. We're still taking cash for silver and gold. It's just amazing.
Yeah, you can convert paper into real money, right? So
right.
So we're looking at all this data because before you came on, we were talking about what's going on with China in silver specifically. Then we look at what's going on, and we know what's going on with gold in China. Then we look at what's going on in India with gold, and we also know that in India also has 1.4 billion people. So if each of those people decide, if 70% of the people in India and 70% of the people in China all bought 1 ounce of silver, it would wipe out 2 years of global production and supply of silver. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. But then, Chris, and we're not going to dig crazy deep into this, that's just investment. I mean, when you look, and like we said, that like we saw there, that Indian company's taking 25 million ounces off the COMEX. They're taking delivery. I think that was before you came on as well. This Indian solar manufacturing company is bought 25 million ounces of silver from the COMEX and said, hey, we want it. And why is that a big deal? Because the COMEX is not used to people buying futures contracts and actually wanting delivery of it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. And note on China, I did a little article on my channel on China. The young people are not saving their yuan. They're taking the yuan and they're stacking silver and gold in China. The younger people are scared of their currency in China, and that is what they're doing right now. And it's amazing how much, if we all stop and think, even if it's a few bucks here and there, get a silver quarter, get a silver dime, it adds up so fast. You won't believe how fast it will add up. Just a couple quarters here, a couple dimes here.
Yeah.
If you can do that every single week or every time you get paid, it really does add up.
Yeah. And the Chinese and the Indian people are just devouring the supply of silver and gold in the world right now. I mean, when we talk about this idea of a potential squeeze in silver, It's real. I've been showing data on the channel, Chris, with like these new solar farms they're building in China. I mean, they're unbelievable. We're talking like 5 million, 6 million solar panels. And do you think it's safe to say that when you look at a solar panel farm, like they call them, 5 or 6 million panels, that what I like to call them, they're not solar farms, they're silver solar farms. Because each time I look at a solar panel, I think of about like an ounce of silver or 2/3 of an ounce of silver in each panel.
Yeah, and the problem with all that is, it's not really a problem, but when you have to go clean them, they're gonna get dusty, Ron, and someone's gonna have to go clean those too. So that's gonna add more money, and the solar panels break down. You might need to replace the silver in them, because how are we gonna recycle this? We remember, we don't recycle a ton of silver anyways. Very small portion of silver gets recycled. It gets thrown away. And are we going to stop mining landfills to find silver? That might be a come to play later on.
Yeah, that definitely could be a potential situation. I mean, but it's just unbelievable when you look out there. Let's go take a look. You mentioned the relationship between silver and gold. I want to take everybody out here. This guy Tavi Costa had some really interesting this art. Man, I tell you what, the silver. Are you a fan of the Silver Academy, Chris?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't follow them. You sent me the article and I did read it. It's got a lot of good information in there.
Yeah, they've got a lot of they put out something every single day. I'm a massive fan of the Silver Academy, the Silver Industry Substack. It's free and it's just a daily. And I've heard Andy Scheckman talk about, I've heard other people talk about, and really is something that's gaining a lot of traction. But the gold to silver ratio is going lower. Okay, so that's the ratio. How many ounces of silver does it take to get an ounce of gold? Okay, and that keeps going lower and lower. I remember you and I talking back when it took 90 ounces of silver at one point to get 1 ounce of gold. Okay,
right.
But it broke through a significant 13-year trend that was going on. There it is on a 3-month level. So it got as high as 87 not too long ago, and currently sitting at around 75, 76. So it takes about 75 ounces of silver right now. Went from a high of 87 to a low of 73. Okay, listen to what Tavi Costa said. Now, Tavi Costa is I don't want to say like a financial. He's just the smartest guy in the room. Type person is all I can say. Runs a big financial services company down in Brazil. This guy follows silver and gold like nobody else. And listen to what he said here. So after breaking a 13-year support 2 months ago, okay, the gold to silver ratio appears to be at an early stage downward trend. So that means it's going to take fewer and fewer ounces of silver to buy gold because, relatively speaking, the price of silver is going up. He says, although I firmly believe that gold remains historically attractive relative to the money supply and the current lack of fiscal discipline, right? He says, in red, I believe there's nothing more undervalued and asymmetric in this macro environment than silver. And for those of you who don't know what asymmetric means, that means unbalanced, meaning that the upward potential for the silver price is far greater than the downward risk. Like, oh yeah, maybe silver could go down. Like worst case scenario, maybe silver could go down $10 an ounce from where it is, but it could go up by 50 or 80 or $90 per ounce. So the upward potential is much bigger. And there's that ratio, Chris. And if you look, that yellow line, right, that's a long-term, you can see this.
We can't see it, Ron.
Oh, you can't see it? Did I forget? Oh my gosh. I can't believe I did that. I made a mistake, Chris. There, now you can see it, right?
Now we can see it, yes.
Okay. I apologize, guys. I was just reading anyway, but the gold to silver ratio, right? Oh, since what, 2010, right? That's that 13-year. And as you can see, it broke down. And again, as the further that breaks down below that line, the higher that the silver price will be going relative to gold. And we think gold's going up as well. And that's just the opposite. So what are your thoughts on the gold to silver ratio, Chris? I know you've talked about that a little bit in the past. Any thoughts?
I'm not a big gold bug, Ron, but I'll tell you, if we get down to 30 to 1, 25 to 1, I will be trading some silver in for gold.
Mm-hmm.
Just because to reduce the weight, because silver is the downfall about silver. And the only really downfall about silver is it's the weight. I mean, when you have, you know, a lot of silver and you have to move, it's going to be a problem to move it. So eventually, yes, I am looking to convert, but not right now. I am still stacking silver as we speak on. Um, I love silver, but I will never give up my 90%. I will never trade my 90% into for gold.
Yeah.
That is for my barter material if we need to use it. And hopefully we don't
Zombie
need to bother with it. But
apocalypse, right?
it,
Go ahead.
I did a video on the other just yesterday, Ron. Silver for war it's called, and I made how much silver you would need for that. We can convert that onto gold, but it's so hard to tell anybody how much gold you need, how much silver you need, because everybody has a different lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's hard to tell. It's not the right math for everybody, but it's a baseline. And so if people want to check that video, feel free to check that video out.
Yep. And I'll take everybody out to your channel a bit later. I want to point out as well that historically speaking, the gold to silver ratio at times, and I don't have the long-term chart in front of me, but it's gotten, even in recent times, down very, very low. I think in 2011, if I'm remembering correctly, it got as low as like 15 or 20. And I like what you said, because that's the time when you might want to think about converting some of your silver into gold, right? Don't sell your silver for paper. Well, you do whatever you want, but I would never want to sell my silver. But when we get that ratio, when the gold to silver ratio, when it only takes 20 ounces of silver to get an ounce of gold, maybe it becomes more attractive at that point to convert some silver into gold. And I mean, it feels like it'll never happen, but gosh darn it, it will happen, right? It's happened in the past. It will continue to happen. There were even points in history. Mark S., who's a great contributor to the channel, sends me a lot of great information, sent me an article that I may touch on in a future live stream that said that there were times in history where silver, can you believe this, Chris? Silver was more valuable than gold.
Yeah, there has been. That's no joke. That's no joke.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you personally. I think silver's prettier than gold. I like, so I know the value, and I love gold. Don't get me wrong, but I love silver. Which do you love? Which do you think's prettier, Chris? I mean, you're touching this stuff all the time, right?
I do like gold, but I'm a silver stacker on. That's just, just because I know, I think most of the audience knows silver is so undervalued. Not saying gold's not undervalued, but gold's at really an all-time high, just about. We're about a $40, $50 from an all-time high. Silver's got more room to run. We're at $31 silver. The all-time high is right around 50, 51, depending what chart you're looking at. If you're looking in a day trading, but there's more room for silver to go than gold right now, in my opinion.
You know what, Chris? I just want to say something to you right now, buddy.
Okay,
it's nice to have you back in the basement. We kind of split up for a little while, but I feel like the band is back together, baby. So it's great to have you here in the basement.
It's good to be back, Ron.
Yeah, well, you're the best, and I also want to say thanks to our moderator team. We've got, I think, Jake's on here this morning.
Hello, Jake, Annie,
and Silvershire, and everybody who's joined us. I want to look. I don't know if I did this yet. Thank you, right? Thanks to everybody. I can't say everybody's name, but you do have a name, so say it to yourself and realize that we do appreciate you being here, being part of the basement dweller community, if that's what you prefer to refer to yourself as. But it's a big deal. Your time's important, and we really appreciate you being here, and we really appreciate your support and your input. So thank you. Please give this a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to go out and take a look at CoinShop Chris's channel a little bit later and let him talk about that. But right now, what I wanted to go back to this idea, like, and that's what Tavi Costa was talking about. That's why he says, you said it as well, Chris, right? Silver has a lot more room to run right now. I mean, the fundamentals behind silver are just absolutely incredible.
And just want to make a point, Ron. We're in this summer months now. This is a time silver should not be doing anything.
Yeah.
We're just getting summer going. We're just past the July 4th holiday. We had a big update on Friday, Ron. Is this going to continue into Monday? If we can hold between $31 and $40 for the rest of the summer, wait to September when we have a rate cuts. Just wait. It's gonna boom. I think we have a very short window at lower prices because after September, when they cut rates, and I'm not gonna guarantee they're gonna cut rates, but I'm 90% sure we're gonna see a rate cut in September and probably another one in November. And silver and gold are gonna fly to the moon. How far they're gonna go, I don't know. That's just my prediction.
Yeah. Well, and I had talked previously 3-4 weeks ago. I was preparing everybody, like the summer, we're in the doldrums, right? Traditionally, silver and gold are these are the worst months of the year. But Chris, think about this. Think about this, because of all this BS, artificial, synthetic, bubblegum and duct tape monetary policy by the Fed that we've been have going on since 2008, right? The last 15 years. All the fiscal mismanagement by our politicians, our situation now really is different. I mean, things can happen on much more extreme levels, and they can happen much more quickly as well, right? Not to mention what's going on a worldwide basis. So maybe this time really is different. Maybe we are going to have a massive July rally in the silver price and the gold price. Look, nobody knows for sure. It's hard, but I mean, we are in a different environment right now. We've never faced, right, from a silver perspective. I mean, sorry, Charlie, but in the 1970s in this country, right, when silver went from $1.50 to 50, like a 25, 30, whatever times price increase, we didn't have China and India were nothing. They were third world countries. They didn't have any money. Nobody had any money. Now we got China and India, right? They're getting wealthy and that are sucking in all the world's silver and gold. Oh, and by the way, we also have these industries, right? The semiconductor industry, the solar panel industry, the electric car industry that are all simultaneously sucking in all the world. Are things really different, Chris?
They are different. I do believe they are different this time, Ron. Absolutely. Because look, when was the last time we saw $31 back in the summer months? We have to go really rolling back into 2007, I believe it was, the last time we saw these prices. This is the same setup, if not worse, than when we hit $50 in 2011. We all know Janet Yellen, and when you have in the box there, Ron, it says inflation's been transitory. Well, is inflation really going away? I don't think so. Prices are still high. They may not be going up as dramatically as they were, but they're still going up, Ron. And we got oil rising, and we've not even had a hurricane yet really in the Gulf that's over the oil wells to stir up more prices. We just wait for that later this summer and early fall. And let's hope we don't get a major hurricane in the Gulf to stir that up.
Yeah. I'm just looking at a chart of the silver. Hold on here. I'm going to pull up to everybody. Look at this, because I mean, I don't know the specific data. Why is this chart not? Hold on here. There we go. Okay, so there we are. You guys can see this chart. Here we are. Okay. There's Susie. Susie says hi, Chris.
Hello, Susie.
So we are at 31. I can't even get it on that, but let's just go up here. Here we go. 30. Okay. Do you see that line? We've not been this high in the silver price since that brief period in 2011, right? I mean, if you look back, really, here, I'm going to go over here, guys. Oh, here, you know what? I can draw on the screen, Chris. I figured out how to draw on the screen. You want me to do some coloring for you, Chris? Huh? This
We all know that you have a coloring book, Ron.
so this little period right here is the only time, right, in recent history that we were above and that was not that long. And then look how like overall the silver price has been higher. I mean, we are really in, I mean, there's something that you said really sparked it in me, Chris. We are really in like new territory for the silver price. We got $31 silver. I mean, Chris, when did we meet? Tell the story about how you and I are fateful. How did we come together, Chris? How did we meet each other?
We met. I sent you an email, Ron.
We met on the internet.
That's right. Well, I actually emailed you because I love your channel, Ron. I love what you do. And I saw lettuce at $4.99 at my local grocery store. I had for romaine lettuce, $4.99. And I remember I sent that picture to you, and you got back to me. We started talking back and forth. But you know, then you said on one of your live streams, that you did, would you pay at that time? So I believe silver was $20 an ounce or so. Is that really worth 4 heads of lettuce an ounce of silver?
Yeah,
really. Now look at lettuce today. Romaine lettuce just the other day was 2 for $3. Well, how many lettuces can you get for an ounce of silver today? A heck of a lot more.
Yeah. That's how we met, guys. We met through lettuce. Coin Shop Chris, and thank you, Vincent Leone, for the super chat. And
thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, and thank you, Great Nate. Right? Yeah, Great Nate. Thank you for the super chat as well.
Thank you, Great Nate.
So Coin Shop Chris and I met on the internet over lettuce. Okay, and that's true, right? He said, and I thought, who is this guy? Sends me this email with a picture of lettuce. He said, "Look, lettuce at my grocery store is $5." And then he said, "Would you trade?" Because back then, the point I'm making is silver was $20 an ounce, roughly. And you said, Ronnie, right? Which I love when you call me.
Said too, yeah.
I love when you call me Ronnie, Chris. Can you say it for me? I'm listening.
Ronnie.
Ronnie, would you trade an ounce of silver for 4 heads of lettuce? I said, heck no. Right? I said, I might trade an ounce of silver for 100 heads of lettuce. I don't know. Right? But just look how far the silver price, like you said, you made a great point, Chris. Now we're at $30. We're at $30 silver. And the fundamentals are stronger than ever, Chris. I want to go.
Absolutely.
Run back there and bang on my ping pong table. I mean, people don't realize that we are in really good shape when it comes to the silver price. And speaking of silver, let's get right to it. You did some comparison shopping. Talk to us about quarters, Chris.
Well, it's not quarters, it's quarters, but 90% silver quarters. I did a video on this. Also, JM Bullion. These prices were as of Friday night, on about 6 p.m. So JM Bullion had them for $273.20 for a roll of quarters. SD Bullion had them for $249.43. Hero Bullion had them for $242.50. AtMax had them for $241.24. And Pinbacks, your sponsor on, had them for $240.20. So what I did was I took the highest price from JM. Mm-hmm. It's a $33 savings from JM Bullion. So if you went to JM Bullion today and bought a roll of silver quarters, you'll be paying $33 more. No need of it. Thank you, Pinbacks. You know, again, Ron, Pinbacks, I tell you, a lot of times they have the cheapest prices. I'll just say it that way. I mean, people really need to shop around. And, you know, prices change on minute by minute, depending on what silver is. And really, we have to lock it in at the cheapest price possible, because $33, what can you buy? You can almost buy another ounce of silver out there for $33.
Yeah.
Add a dollar, maybe add $1 to $2 more for the cream, you know, and you're really at right there. You can get almost a free silver eagle from Pinbacks from shopping from JM.
Yeah. So the price you quoted on those quarters now, and I want to be clear for everybody, those are 90% silver quarters, what a lot of people refer to as junk silver or constitutional silver.
Yeah.
But they're 90%. And for each, I got a couple here I can show. So these are from like the 1950s, right? These are, and they sound different, if you can hear that when you clink them together. But when you take a dollar, when you take like 4 quarters, you basically have what, like 0.715, I think it is, ounces of silver in that for each $1 worth of junk silver. Is that correct, Chris?
The easiest math, any combination of dimes, quarters, or half dollars, $1.40, is considered an ounce of silver.
Okay, so
So
that's
that's the
another.
easiest way to remember it. Every dollar. So if you have $1.50 in silver quarters, you have actually more than an ounce of
More than an
silver
ounce.
in your hands. Yes.
Or if you have $1 worth, then you have 0.715 ounces, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the price that you talked about, those numbers that you ran, how much, like, was that for like how much face value of
That'll be $10 face.
$10? Okay. So about,
$10 face value. And that's all ACH prices. No credit cards. It was
okay.
all ACH prices. So I did apples for apples. And, pinbacks, like I said, you went to JM Bolin, and none of these companies are bad companies. Okay. It's just you have to shop around. And oftentimes, I've been keeping an eye on pinbacks on, and I tell you, I have never seen them have they always have the cheapest price on American silver eagles every single time I check.
Yeah, well, I like Pimbex because I know I can trust them and I know they have great prices. And then so if I want to go out, and sure, I check, right, because they're my sponsor and I believe in what they're doing. But what I like is that I know the prices are going to be great and I know I can trust them. So I don't have to go through this whole process of going to all these different websites, and then if I do find something, then I got to do investigative work to make sure this is a company I can trust, because there's a lot of great other trustworthy companies out there, absolutely, no doubt about it, but there are some bad apples as well. So what I like about Pimbex is I know I can trust them and I know I'm getting a great price. It makes it a simple transaction, but I'm waiting for $22 silver to come back before I start buying more.
Well, $22 is in your dreams. I might have to give Susie a call to talk you into getting some more silver quarters on.
Yeah,
But,
right.
Really, but another way to save a little bit of money, they do have tubes to stack these into, but those tubes, folks, are going to probably cost you about $1.50 plus now. An old medicine bottle or an old vitamin bottle, wash it out good, dry it out good. And I tell you, in these medicine bottles, you can stack 28 plus face, depending on the size of the medicine bottle, and just put silver quarters 90% and put the face value. That way, what's exactly in that bottle.
What about do you still use old toilet paper rolls to stack them up in?
Oh my, well? No, I don't use old toilet paper rolls. Maybe you do.
Chris, do you have a few more minutes to stay with us? Because do you realize, Chris, that cowbell? I got to ring the cowbell. I keep forgetting. Okay, cowbell. Chris, hold your ears.
Ring it louder.
Is that loud?
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And we do need to run out. We're going to run out. Chris, don't let me forget to run out to your channel. But do you have a few more minutes? I know you're busy to stay with us, because we're heading into. This is big right now. Like, we are on the cusp of a potential big move in the silver and gold price. And I want to talk about what Kitco is saying about what's going on right now and get your thoughts. If you have, Chris, a few more minutes to stay with us.
Sure, why not?
Okay. All right. Let's go out to this article from Kitco. My friend, who I've never met, but I think he's a friend. I think he's a great guy. He used to make videos, Niels, over at Kitco. I like Niels. If you look back a long time ago, he would do interviews. But Niels Christensen put out this article: Gold investors eye $2,400 per ounce as market sees fewer barriers to the Fed's easing cycle. Now I'm paranoid I don't have the article up. Okay. Yeah, if I don't have the article up, let me know next time, Chris. Thank you for your help earlier on that, by the way. And
you're welcome, sunshine.
Disappointing economic data. I'm going to read for a while, Chris. So I know if you want to eat a couple ding dongs, feel free. Disappointing economic data, including slowing momentum in the U.S. labor market, is raising market expectations that the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates in September. According to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange FedWatch tool, markets see a nearly 80% chance of a rate cut after the summer break. And I think when they say summer break, they mean July. Okay. So the labor market's slowing. I want to point this out. It's critical for us, high level gold and silver analysts that all of us basement dwellers are, to realize the labor market is a big lagging indicator. Okay. It means it reacts in two ways. It reacts in a delayed fashion to when the economy starts to crash. So it's delayed. It's a lag before it reacts. And it starts slowly. It doesn't move. It's kind of like trying to turn a giant aircraft carrier or something, right? Like, but once it starts moving, it's hard to stop it. And right now, what we're seeing is definitive proof that the labor market is slowing. Would you say that, Chris? Are you seeing that the labor market?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, look, you did this story too, Bob Stores. We got Big Lots, Ron, that thinking about bankruptcy. We got Home Goods thinking about bankruptcy. Jobs, these smaller stores that are not really high-end stores, people can't even afford these lower-end stores.
Yeah.
So, J.C. Penney's is closing more stores. It's getting really scary out there. And, some people say, well, I don't shop at Big Lots. But, what we have to realize, Ron, and to your audience, what we got to keep in mind, there's still jobs. And those people still make income. And those people support your local businesses too. When they don't have a job, guess what? Other businesses will suffer eventually.
Yep. And I'll ask you this question, Chris. When's the last time you heard about a new store opening? I'm sure there are, but what about Walgreens? They're going to close 25%. When's the last time we heard about a new store opening? But I got a question, Chris. Are you okay? I'm going to make sure. Are you better now? Is everything okay, Chris?
I'm fine. Why?
Oh, well, because I know when we talk about the store closings, I know that that when Bed Bath and Beyond closed their doors, that was a very difficult period for you. Have you recovered from that? It's been a few months.
I'm laughing because you're so crazy that time, Ron.
I love when you laugh. I've always loved when Coin Shop Chris laughs. Right, yeah. Okay.
Oh my God.
In red, rising expectations for the start of a new easing cycle have pushed the U.S. dollar index to a 3-week low. And I think this is an error. Bond yields to a 4-week high. I think that's supposed to be 4-week low. In green, which is providing a tailwind for gold as prices trade at 4 weeks high. Blue, at the same time, silver prices have catapulted above $31 an ounce and are also trading at 4 weeks highs. Okay. In orange, look at all these colors. I love all the different colors. The precious metals latest momentum drive came after disappointing June employment data. We know that, and it was disappointing, but it's BS anyway. However, the unemployment rate went up. The report also, this ticks me off, but it's the gold and silver have figured this out. The report also revised April and May employment numbers lower by more than 100,000 jobs, right? What do you think about you? Right, Chris? We've talked about that. Like they put out these employment numbers, which aren't even that good anymore, but then they secretly say, oh yeah, we have to adjust the previous month's numbers we told you because those were overstated. We lied.
Well, also, Ron, we have to keep in mind, when someone goes on unemployment and they can't find a job after their unemployment runs out, they fall off the books. They're no longer counted. So we don't know. These unemployment numbers are a lie to begin with, because depending what state you live in. Some states are 26 weeks, some states are 13 weeks. Depending what state you live in, if you can't find a job in the 13 weeks or the 26 weeks, equal to what you're getting now that you had, you're not counted no more. And when we had that big surge when Obama was in office, when Obama gave that extra $25 a week out for unemployment, it went up to 99 weeks, and people still couldn't find a job after 99 weeks.
Yeah. It's ugly out there. It's ugly out there.
It's coming to that point, Ron, is, I think they want us to stay home and order off of friggin' Amazon. Excuse the language, Ron. I'm sorry. But, I think that's what they want us to do, is order off of Walmart and order off of Amazon.
Yep, yep, and get a bunch of cardboard boxes piled up in your house.
And get a bunch of cardboard boxes that's we throw away. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Well, Chris in purple here, Ricardo Evangelista, technical analyst at Active Trade, said that he would not be surprised if gold pushed above 2,400 an ounce this coming week. We like that guy. He said, talks about the U.S. employment data, and it confirmed that the American labor market continues to cool down, albeit not in a pronounced way, but still enough to favor the Fed doves, to get the doves at the Fed to say, okay, we can cut rates. Okay. He said, quote, in the first half of the year, the resilience of the U.S. economy created headroom for the Federal Reserve to keep rates high for longer. So signs of a cool down are likely to drive a softer U.S. dollar as well as lower treasury yields, a dynamic that supports the price of bullion. One of my favorite analysts of all time, Ole Hansen, head of commodity strategy at Saxo Bank, said it might be a little premature to call gold's consolidation period over, but he remains optimistic that prices will eventually move higher. He said, quote, I would be a bit surprised to see the market go higher already, but then again, the recent correction was very shallow, indicating either strong underlying demand at lower prices or simply that already established longs saw no reason to reduce their exposure. What he said is, Chris and all, everybody was saying, oh, if gold can hold 2,200 through the summer, if gold can hold, I even heard some people say 2,150. They got all these fancy charts with lines and drawings and circles and all kinds of stuff like that. But what's happened is that gold so far has held 2,300. I mean, on the futures market, it's pushing up against 2,400. I mean, this could be it. This could be it. Or 6 weeks from now, we could be saying, gosh, I hope gold doesn't go below 2,100.
I don't think we're going to see that run. I really don't. Yeah. I mean, I really don't see. And if I really saw that run, I'll be, I'm being honest. I just don't see it happening. Not with everything going on out there. Gas is starting to go up again. I mean, it's everything's coming to a head, and inflation. We have to remember inflation. Go back to inflation for me. It's a tax run. It's a tax on the people. That's all inflation is.
It's robbery.
I mean, it is.
It's robbery. It's robbery. It's robbery. It's robbery from the middle class, right? And the working class, because the working class works for the dollars, and then it gets eroded away through inflation. Whereas the upper 1, 2, 3, 4% that own all the assets in the country, they don't call it inflation. They call it a bull market in the stock market, or they call it, real estate prices going through the roof, whatever the case may be. Although a lot of them have had their lunch handed to them with the commercial real estate drawdown. But I want to talk about the biggest story yet, and that's what this next point in this article talks about, Chris. Last week we had the biggest story of the second half of 2024, the jobs number. Now we have an even bigger story coming up this week. On Thursday, we will get the report that shows the inflation numbers for the month of June. And in red here, it says it very clearly. With the U.S. economy slowing down, the biggest risk for the gold market remains inflation, which will be a critical data on next week's calendar. That'll be Thursday, this coming Thursday. However, many analysts note that even this risk is limited, as slower growth will lead to easing price pressure. So we're going to get this. If we get a low inflation print on Thursday, okay, it's that could be the turbo boost button for the silver price and the gold price, right? And if you think about it, I think there's a couple things that are. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to make a prediction and say that the inflation number will, at minimum, just meet what they're expecting. But I think it could even come in lower because the economy is slowing down. People don't have money, right? I mean, everybody I talk to, everything that I observe shows that people just don't have money to spend, especially on discretionary type items. And the second component to that is that we are in an election year, and wouldn't it be just wonderful for Bidenomics, if on Thursday they could say, look, and for the Fed to say, look, inflation's down. We got like that. We get a surprisingly low inflation print number, and they can point to that and say, look, we're taking control. I'll be shocked if on Thursday the inflation number comes in higher than expected.
How many people do we actually believe that these inflation numbers, when they strip out food, oil, and house run, if they did the same inflation rate they did back in the 70s, we'd be around 16 to 18% now.
Yeah.
We all know it's a big lie, and that's what it is. I mean, I'm just going to call it what it is. It's a lie, Ron, and it's shameful. If you go back and look at inflation, the past 15, 20 years, the last 4 years, Ron, we've had record high inflation, but it don't compare to the 1970s because they stripped out oil, food, and housing, the big boys that we all need. And
yeah,
that's what it is. It's if you go Shell Stats, they have more of an accurate prediction of the history of inflation. They really do.
Yep. Let's talk about hold on here. One more, because we missed this one. Just one more sign of how strong the economy is, because here we have this headline: pizza chain reportedly on the brink of bankruptcy. Okay, not like we're talking bankruptcy. Pizza chain, but is it a big pizza chain? Okay. A national fast casual pizza chain is exploring a potential bankruptcy filing as the company looks for a buyer, according to several reports. MSN reports people familiar with Mod Pizza, which I've been to. We got a couple of those, I believe, in St. Louis, or we used to anyway, say the Seattle chain has hired legal and financial advisors to work on a possible sale of the business or a bankruptcy filing. Okay. How big is it? The restaurant industry publication said at the end of 2023, Mod operated over 550 locations. How many people do you think work at each one of those locations? At least 10, right? So that's five.
Yeah.
I mean, this is happening everywhere. This is not like, some little isolated event or anything like that. It is happening absolutely everywhere, right? Things are slowing down.
And that is exactly what I meant by when you were talking about bed and bath. You take these bigger stores, it's gonna hurt your local little family businesses, little restaurants. It's gonna hurt those businesses too when the big boys go out, and then it shuffles down to the smaller business trying to survive. And guess what? These little restaurants or these smaller chain restaurants are not going to be able to survive because we don't have the money to go out there to support them. They have great food, but it's happening all over the country, Ron, and it's sad.
Yep. So when Coin Shop Chris can no longer go to Bed Bath & Beyond to buy his new bed sheets or whatever he happens to be shopping for that day, the person that worked at Bed Bath & Beyond no longer has a job, so they can't get their paycheck on Friday and go to Mod Pizza and buy a pizza, and eventually it all goes to zero, right? And we're happy we have gold and silver, right?
Right. So that's why you maybe, there are some farmers markets out there now, Ron, that certain vendors will take silver for food. Keep that in mind, folks. Get to know your farmers market people and ask them if they're willing to take silver right now. Don't mean you have to give up the silver now, but when the time comes, you have a food source to go to for your fresh fruits and vegetables. Yes. That's my main message there.
Yes. And so here we are now, guys. Let me make sure I've got this on the screen. Yes, I do. Here we are at Coin Shop Chris. Coin Shop Chris, right, who's been a great friend of the basement for over a year now, has his own YouTube channel. And I really would like everybody to go out there and check it out. All you have to do is go into YouTube, type in Coin Shop Chris, and this will come up. This, whatever, is that a silver coin, I guess? And here's his little picture.
It's a silver coin, yeah.
Are those quadas in that picture? Looks
like? No, those are maple leaves.
Maple leaves, okay. But here's our mission today, guys. Coin Shop Chris, he just started. He's doing great. Has almost 500 subscribers, but he doesn't quite have 500 subscribers. Do you think we could, us basement dwellers, could go out and show Chris some support and get Chris over 500 subscribers today? And you can check out Yeah, that's okay. Check out these videos. What's your highest viewed video at this point, Chris?
That would be the silver gone video.
Silver gone. Okay, here, popular. Let's take a look here, guys, just to give you a taste for what he's got here. Silver gone. I mean, that's big, Chris, for less than a month. You, I can tell you from having built a YouTube channel myself, you are obviously delivering a message that is resonating with people. I know you cover a variety of subjects, but it all has to do with silver and gold. Is that safe to say?
Yes, mostly I do some foods, some inflation videos and stuff like that too. I might add a few things here and there, but I was really shocked about the 43,000 silver sold video. You know, I was really shocked at how well that one has done.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I mean, I'm trying to spread the message. You know, I do it a little bit differently. I use flashcards in some of the videos, Ron, and that's help people. You know, especially when I do the coins, the key date years, flashcards. People seem to like that, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I went out to the dollar store and got more flashcards. So
you went to the dollar store, right?
Well, every dollar I can save on to buy more silver, that's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely.
So, and if anybody wants to come over and join me at my channel, please let me know you're coming from the basement. And so we can give Ron some credit back on that. I would appreciate this. Leave me a comment in any video you watch that you come from the basement and you subscribe. I would appreciate that.
Chris, we love you here in the basement. I know the basement dwellers love you. You've been around, we joke around about Bobby. We joke around about ding dongs, but the bottom line is that we really care about each other, just like a lot of the people on this channel care about each other, right? People like Annie Oakley, Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, Silvershire, the moderators, but all the other people as well. There's a lot of super nice, wonderful people in the silver and gold community. I've already said thank you to our channel sponsor, Pimbex. Don't forget, if you need to get your hands on some silver, gold, or platinum, go check out Pimbex. You help support the basement. They support this channel, make this possible. Thanks to First Mining Gold and Fortuna Mining, both stocks that I own, although I'm not giving financial advice, but you can learn more about them at their respective websites as well. Chris, thank you for joining us today. Any parting words for our audience?
I just got one final thought, Ron. I do own some First Mining Gold, and I guess we can't give financial advice, but I think Dan and his team over there, Dan Wilson and his team, is doing a heck of a job. I like Dan. He's a good man. I think he's the most honest one of them out there, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. When you do videos with him, I'm tuned right in, Ron.
Yeah.
Because I think Dan really sends the message, and he cares about his company right down to the last ounce they're going to dig out of the ground.
Yep. And I do know he has a lot of his own personal wealth invested in the company as well.
And that's what you want, and that is what you really want if you're looking at mining stocks. That is what you want to see. Yes.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Susie.
All right, guys, and thank you for being here, basement dwellers. I should see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.